All right, good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday night. We are live here on Ken's 5, talking all things weather. We had a hot day. High temperatures were in the upper 90s in San Antonio this afternoon, and skies were mostly clear. A couple of clouds overhead. And again, temperature is pretty hot. 97 degrees the high temperature today. 95 is normal. So kind of in the neighborhood, the ballpark for where July typically brings for daytime highs. Take a look at the record high that was recorded on this day in history back in 1989, 106. So it gives you a range. So normal is 95, but the record's 106. That's basically what summer brings, especially July weather. Now, we don't have that kind of heat in the forecast through the weekend nor next week, but it's still going to be pretty hot when you tie in the humidity with daytime highs 96, 97, 98, 99, and then you add in the humidity value. It's going to feel more like 103 to 105 most days going forward. So that's a big heads up for anyone who works outdoors, for any friends, family, neighbors that work outdoors, outside. If you're going to the pool or if you have any outdoor plans at the park, for example, especially for tomorrow, it's Sunday tomorrow. If you have any plans, just find shade, take breaks when you can. Just listen to your body. Your body's designed to tell you, give you an alert when it's just becoming too much. Your body sweats excessively, especially with symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. When we talk about those symptoms, your body sometimes can turn red. Sometimes your body can really start becoming more dry versus sweaty. At that point, you're experiencing symptoms or effects of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. And that's very common this time of year. July and August, it is the hottest time, hottest chapter of the year. High temperature though, 95 is average, and we hit 97 today. I think we'll continue the trend of just above average warmth, at least a couple or a few degrees above the normal for the foreseeable future. Earlier, this month and last month as well, we've really caught up on rainfall. Our yearly total, if you take a look at that number, yearly total for 2025 is 20.20 inches of rain for San Antonio. And that's obviously going to vary depending on where you're located, and especially across the hill country where they've seen a little bit more, where, by the way, a lot of them are out of drought. And some of the areas like in northern Gillespie County, some pockets, since the latest drought report on Thursday, have improved vastly. It's unfortunate that it had to come with this kind of flood event across south central Texas and the hill country and central Texas as well. But yeah, so 20.20 is our yearly total, 1.14 since July began at the airport. That number is a lot higher for like northwest Bexar County, for Kerr County, Kendall County, Gillespie County, Bandera County, for example, northern Medina County, even Uvalde. I mean, you talk about some crazy, staggering numbers from Uvalde to Concan to Camp Wood. That area in the last week, 2 weeks or so, has picked up between like 9 to 14 inches of rain, depending on where you are in that area between Real County and northern Uvalde County. So it's been a very active couple of weeks and a very active couple of months. Now, a byproduct of all the rain is a replenishment of our lakes. Take a look at this. This is just some of the data that was collected from today. Canyon Lake is at 67.5% full. Medina Lake, obviously it's still pretty bad, but considering it was down to 2% last month, it has tripled in its percent at 6.1. That's good news. Still 81 feet from its conservation pool, meaning that is the designated maximum for water usage downstream. So it's way below its conservation pool. Lake Buchanan, if you've seen some of the video coming out of Lake Buchanan, especially this past week and I think last week as well, they've had to release water from Lake Buchanan downstream because they are at their conservation pool. If you look closely at that number on the second column, right now 99.7% full for Lake Buchanan, and that's 1 foot below their conservation pool, meaning if they reach 100%, they have to release more water. Now, most of the state is dry, but again, that's just a resurgence of water, which their dam, their reservoir cannot hold that much water, so they have to release it downstream towards like Lake LBJ, towards Marble Falls, towards Lake Travis. And that can lead to some high water areas, along the river itself, or at least along the water path itself as it kind of flows into Marble Falls and more so into Lake Travis, where, by the way, Lake Travis has seen a 36-foot 1 month change. So this time last month it was 36 feet below where it was at now. Now it's 36 above, 89.4% full. That's about 6 to 7 feet below its conservation pool. So huge resurgence and replenishment from our lakes, and that is looking good. Jeremy, I just got your text. Thank you so much, man. Ken's 5 in the house. Yes, sir. Star, congratulate on what, Star? What's going on? What is the specific heat temperature for an 8-foot deep pool at high that's a good question. I'd have to look into that, Alex. I'm not too sure. For an 8-foot deep pool for height 90s. I have to think about that. That might require some math and some science, and I'll have to get into that, Alex. I'll get back to you, though. I'll get back to you. Listening just next door from Danny. Oh, there we go, Danny. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so lake levels, huge replenishment. Matter of fact, Jeremy Baker did a story on this yesterday, just kind of providing an update on those lake levels. It's incredible to see Lake Buchanan. I don't think in history, in recorded history, that Lake Buchanan has ever reached 100% on its conservation pool, on its percent full. So it's really incredible. But that's just the latest on the lake levels across Central and South Texas. Speaking of, here are some other numbers for you. Today's high at 97 degrees, 92 at Kerrville, 95 in San Marcos, 98 at Del Rio, 99 at Eagle Pass. There were a couple of hundreds on the map earlier today. 103 at Floresville, 100 at Pleasanton, 103 at Cotulla. Pretty hot temperatures across the area. Right now, you can see a nice little color to the sky. Some of those mid to high level clouds out there this evening. 91 at the airport, 92 at Stinson. We have a nice breeze keeping the air moving a little bit, 18 miles an hour. 86 at Bandera, 85 at Bulverde. A lot of areas to the north were a few degrees cooler today because of the cloud cover just kind of locking in and not moving out from our northern counties. You can see 91 in San Antonio to 86 in Kerrville. That's a pretty good temperature change and difference from one spot to the next. Still 95 at Del Rio and Eagle Pass, still basically 100 degrees over at Pearsall and Cotulla at 8:15 at night. From Julie from Las Vegas. Hello, Julie. Hope you're having a wonderful night. How's Las Vegas doing this evening? How's the weather doing? I know it's probably, you guys are having a good time over in Vegas right now, but how's the weather doing in the desert Southwest? Probably pretty hot. I mean, we complain about the heat here in South Texas, but Las Vegas, you see air temperatures get up to like 105 to 110 pretty easily in southern Nevada and near Arizona, parts of southern Cali, and that area of the country. So it's pretty hot here, but it can get hotter over there, that's for sure. Winds a little breezy, 15, 20 miles an hour. Here's the radar. You can see not much. I'll go back to that. There were and maybe a couple of sprinkles and light showers, but really not much regarding measurable rain out near Austin and near, let's say, Travis County and towards Hayes County. But overall, pretty quiet on the radar. There's just some maybe light rain, and that might be even clutter on the radar, but we'll have to watch that. That's probably just, I would say at most, the extent of that, probably light rain or drizzle out there near Austin and near the I-35 corridor. Here's what you can expect tomorrow: 97 Monday, 98 Tuesday. A little breezy, 15 to 25 mile an hour winds tomorrow. So just a heads up if you have any outdoor parties planned, if you're hanging any decorations in the backyard or at the park, just keep in mind it'll be a little breezy tomorrow. I wouldn't say windy, but just occasional gusts will be near like 25 miles an hour tomorrow. Julie, it's pretty hot here. Yeah, it gets pretty hot in the desert Southwest, Arizona, Las Vegas, and from Ann. At least it's a dry heat in Vegas. Yeah, that's always a big topic of conversation. Humid heat versus a dry heat. What's worse? It just depends on how you look at it. In my opinion, I think dry heat hurts more because you feel every single one of those degrees. Like I've been to Vegas in July and August, and it was when like air temperatures were at 114, 115. And I mean, when you're walking along those roads in Vegas at that kind of temperature, it hurts, and you need to take a break fast because, I mean, heat exhaustion, heat stroke will strike you fast, and It's just a different level in desert-like heat. You know, you feel every single one of those degrees. In the humid heat, it's very tropical. The air is very heavy. You can feel it. And one thing about humid heat, when it's so tropical outside and there's so much moisture, your body can't sweat efficiently. It still sweats, obviously, but with the humid heat, your body struggles to sweat, which means you can't cool off quickly, which means it makes it feel hotter. That's why there's a heat index here in South Texas and not much of a heat index in Vegas and like Arizona and in that desert Southwest region, because there's not much humidity out there. It's more of that dry heat. So again, that's always a topic of conversation. Dry heat versus humid heat. What is worse? In my opinion, I've been through dry heat and I'm not used to dry heat, so that hurts. It really hurts. I've lived in South Texas a majority of my life, so I'm kind of acclimated to that humid heat. But a dry heat, it's tough. That's for sure. It's tough. All right, so take a look. Here is what you can expect next 3 days or so. High pressure strengthening out east, so between Chicago, the Great Lakes, all the way down to Florida, and even Texas. Pretty large area of sinking air, high pressure pushing down on the atmosphere. Now that means our forecast, our weather just doesn't really change all that much. Between now and about Wednesday, rinse and repeat. Morning clouds, sunny skies, high temperatures, upper 90s. That's going to be the foreseeable future through Wednesday. Now by Thursday and late next week, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, around that same ridge will be a plume of tropical moisture, which this is interesting because earlier this week we were tracking a tropical wave moving in from Florida and then moving towards Louisiana, and that provided some pretty good downpours between the Panhandle, Florida, and East Texas, and mostly in Louisiana. And that was expected to strengthen slightly, but it never got a name. It never became Tropical Storm Dexter, so that's still up for grabs for tropical hurricane season. Now that same area of moisture will move around this ridge, move south into the Carolinas, sneak underneath that ridge by Wednesday and Thursday, and almost do a 360, just a repetitive pattern just around that ridge, and it looks like it'll move into Louisiana by next Thursday night and Friday. Now, based on the latest guidance, it looks like it'll move towards Texas sometime by Friday and Saturday. What that will mean for us is probably just a little bit more cloud cover and maybe some rain Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. I think most of this rain, just like this past go-around was in Louisiana, it's going to be the same thing for next weekend. But depending on its exact track, and if it intensifies, if it strengthens, if it becomes a tropical depression or a storm, that could move some moisture in our direction, and that could bring some rain and some slightly cooler temperatures. So we'll see if that pans out. Right now, I think most of it should stay east between Houston and Mississippi, but of course that can change in the upcoming forecast. All right, so 97 tomorrow, 98 Monday. Roxy, I'm not falling for that. Okay, is it fall yet from Brianna? No, it is not. I wish it was. Late fall is my favorite time of year, into early winter, because that's when temperatures are like perfect. Because I don't like winter all that much. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy, late January, early February, but like late fall into like early to mid-December is just like the perfect time of year. Morning temperatures are chilly, and then daytime highs are just pretty much mild in the 70s and 80s. So that is my favorite time of year. But I also like summer, don't get me wrong. I love this time of year because you can plan things out. You can go to the beach, you can go to the coast, you can go on vacation. The weather is pretty much the same day to day. There's no huge changes. And that's pretty much what our outlook is indicating right now. 98 degrees Tuesday, 98 Wednesday, 99 Thursday, and 96 on Friday. There may be a couple of isolated downpours just depending on the exact track of that tropical system late next week. That may, again, produce some scattered, spotty, isolated showers by Friday and Saturday. But again, it just depends on the track, on where it exactly goes, and if it strengthens into a storm or a depression. So we're going to keep a close eye on that as well. But yeah, it's not fall yet. I wish it was. I wish it was. It is summer, and so the first day of fall, when is that? I think that's September 21st. That is the last day of summer and the first day of fall on September 21st. And we're counting down the days because, yes, early July, Good thing that's come from obviously all the rain and stuff has just been the slightly cooler weather, but even at that, it's still been very humid. It's been tropical, and it's not, we talk about the beginning of fall in late September, but it doesn't start to feel like fall until like November, December time frame, because it can still be really hot in like September, October time frame. So, all right, guys, that is it for weather. We'll be on live in about an hour and a half for another update on KENS 5 News at 10. Tune in then. If not, have a wonderful Saturday night. Be safe. And just to go over one more time, tomorrow, next 2 weeks really, the heat is going to be the big story. So check up on your neighbors. Have a bottle of water everywhere you go at arm's reach. Have a way to cool off. Get your AC fixed if it's not fixed. Because, I mean, this is just intense heat. While we don't have any triple digits, 100s, 101s, when you add in the humidity, it feels like 101, 202, especially if you're outside for a long period of time. Have a wonderful night, guys. Be safe. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on social, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on every social media platform. So if you have any questions, if you're traveling, feel free to message me and ask away, because I'm always thinking about weather. I'm always talking about weather here on KENS 5. All right, guys, have a wonderful Saturday night. Be safe, and we'll see you next time.